All right, welcome everybody to the latest Perpetual Protocol community call. This is call number 49, and I'm happy to say I'm back after a bit of a hiatus. We had Houston taking over the call for a few weeks there, and hope everybody enjoyed it. I'm sure, yeah, I definitely.
There's some big shoes to fill, Lee. It was not easy, but I kept the fort down.
Well, I appreciate it very much, but at the same time, I'm glad to be back and really happy to see everybody. Very much, and also glad to see Houston again. We're just talking before the call, and I had a bit of a holiday, and then he had a bit of a holiday, and then since then things have been pretty busy. So I haven't actually got a chance to see you very much, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing excellent, man. It's I'm always happy to be on this call, and glad to be be able to participate in our biweekly updates.
Awesome. Yeah, same here. Especially since today, actually, I wasn't sure anyone would be joining me until sort of the last minute. I thought it might be like a one-man call, but my trusty wingman Houston is here, and yeah, thanks
always
a lot.
Glad to help. No problem.
So I'll just quickly ask anybody watching if the audio sounds okay, please let us know, or if there's any kind of problem, please let us know in the chat. We'd love to hear from you if there's a problem. So far, it looks like everything is okay. Yeah, it's been a bit of a crazy time, especially in the last couple of days. I don't know about the rest of you, but I saw some kind of weird news in the last day or two on a couple of fronts. I don't know, Houston, if you've been keeping track of this a bit.
You talking around the security side, or are you talking about just the regulation, or just the general crypto banter?
Yeah, everything.
Yeah.
But I think the really weird one is the security side, where there's this guy, I forget his name, Tay, I guess, on Twitter, who's talking about some hacks that he's been following, and it's like a really unusual hack. Normally hacks are like protocols or bridges, exchanges, and this time it's seems to be wallets being hacked, and it's really bizarre, and no one has, as far as I know, there's been no pattern discovered yet, but apparently it's been going on for a few months. Houston, do you know anything about it?
Just concerned. Yeah, I think concerned like most people. It's certainly an unusual development because, like you said, it doesn't seem to be any kind of rhyme or reason to it. It seems very random. So that's the ones that are most worrisome because there doesn't seem to be any pattern. And it seems to be also be affecting people who have hardware wallets, right? So I think that's the one that's even more confusing. So yeah, just crossing my fingers right now, trying to keep a low profile.
Yeah, as we go online to talk about it.
Yeah.
If you're watching this now, please stop watching.
Yeah. Do not check my wallet.
But yeah, definitely sort of keeping an eye on that as things will hopefully develop. Like I say, there hasn't been a whole lot of, as far as I know, that we don't have a lot of information besides that there's some weird stuff that went on, and it seems to be kind of continuing, and so far it seems to be random. So hopefully we'll have some more information about that before too long.
Yeah. Yeah, for now, I guess just be safe out there, right? Just if you're really concerned, minimize your activity on chain or move your monies. Yeah. I don't know what's the best advice that you can give right now, but yeah, just minimize your exposure, I guess, would be the best bet. But how to do that even is a bit difficult to parse out.
Yeah, it seems so far anyway, it seems so random, you don't know what to do. So yeah. I guess one technique, if you're paranoid about this, you could separate your funds into a bunch of different wallets, different computers, different hardware wallets, on your phone, maybe get a couple of extra phones that you only use for crypto, and put a wallet on there. Yeah. I think they say don't have all your eggs in one basket. Maybe that applies to some extent with wallets as well.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, that's a good safety tip.
One thing that's interesting that was reported by this Tay Vano guy is that apparently the attacker basically moves all the funds into Bitcoin gradually. He's a slow motion attack. It's the most bizarre thing. So he moves all his funds, all of his stolen funds into Bitcoin. So maybe that's a sign too. Like, you know, if you're really paranoid, just move all your stuff into Bitcoin on like super cold storage. You can spin up a Linux box and put Electrum on it and make some wallets that way and like never connect it to the internet and all that stuff. You can do some weird stuff if you want to.
Yeah.
And Bitcoin is sort of the like original OG place to do the really hardcore offline ultra cold storage glacier protocols.
So you just move your money into Bitcoin and then just write your seed word on paper, and then that's completely offline.
Yeah, although these days paper is not the way to go. You want to get one of those metal seed
plates.
words.
Yeah.
Stamp your seed into it.
I do have one of those, but I've never used them. Sad to say.
Yeah, I have a similar. Yeah, I'm sort of also guilty of like I have a whole drawer full of probably 10 different hardware wallets that half of which I never got around to even like opening the box.
Yeah.
I just thought I should get one of these and put some Bitcoin or whatever on it, and then when I actually receive it, I'm busy and I just never get around to it.
Yeah. I used to play with a lot of different hardware wallets now as well in the past. Now I'm trying out all the software wallets. There's so many new ones that are dropping every day now that, my phone's running out of space, so it's getting hard to keep up with all of them. But I tried the latest Uniswap wallet. I don't know if you tried that one yet, but that one was getting a lot of chatter about how friendly it was, and I tried it out. It's not bad. Yeah.
Is it iOS only still?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm not sure. Yeah, I am on iOS, so
right.
Not sure if it is if it supports other wallets, mobile OSs. But it's good to see other alternatives to MetaMask.
Yeah, it's nice to have some more competition in that space. Like MetaMask, I mean, obviously it's got its good sides and bad sides, and I think more competition will definitely help. Definitely a good thing. So we will see.
I guess one question I have for the folks in attendance is, I'm always curious about this question: is do most folks on the call, do you generally transact through a mobile wallet or through a desktop wallet? So if you, for instance, you're using MetaMask, are you usually mostly using MetaMask on your phone or on your desktop? Personally, I do most of my transactions through my desktop, but I'm always curious to hear people if they're mobile first or if they're desktop first. What about you, Lee? Are you desktop first or mobile first?
Yeah, that's a great question. Personally, I don't like using my phone all that much. And since I'm on the desktop for work, like I just got so used to using my laptop, I guess, for basically everything.
Yeah.
And recently I found, because I do use my phone for certain things, including endless scrolling on Twitter. So I discovered that just using my phone too much was making me like really sore and stiff, especially my shoulders. So I decided, okay, I have to like totally cut out the phone. Because when I'm sitting at the computer, I have a much better posture than I have, on my phone. So I've been making a big push to not use the phone. Yeah, so it's definitely, I'm a hardcore computer user at this point. But I've definitely noticed our users, we get quite a few people who use their phone. I would say for like the DEX, Perp DEX, most people are probably on their computer. But for like things like staking and probably Hot Tub as well, I find there's a lot of people who use their phone.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Cool.
So it could depend on the application you're talking about.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So another thing that was sort of a surprise today, a sudden dump in the market. I'm sure, Houston, you woke up to that exciting news.
Yeah.
People in North America would have got a big surprise when they woke up.
One big candle. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty wild. Don't know. I haven't seen any news myself yet of like what the explanation might be, especially given the timing. It's like totally random time. Afternoon here in Asia, and then like 4 a.m. Eastern time for North America. It's like pretty random.
Yeah, I think it's mostly market structure based, so supply and demand driven, which you can always, it's always a cop out when you say that. It's like, it's supply and demand. Of course it is. It's always supply and demand. But it did look like it was market structure as as we've been kind of going into highs, and I think we've been bringing along less buyers. I think the buyers have kind of topped out. So I've been trading very carefully at these levels because people have been calling for Bitcoin 50K, and of course some people are calling Bitcoin 1 million, but I think it's just getting past 30 has been very difficult. And of course ETH peaked above, 2000 something, but then I think, since the Chappelle upgrade, we've seen a lot of selling come in, right? I think some people have noted that I think over a million ETH has hit exchanges since the Chappelle upgrade. So people didn't dump right away, but they've been slowly, moving their money onto exchanges or ETH onto exchanges, which is usually a sign they're going to sell. And I think we saw some of that, today, and I guess a few hours ago.
Yeah, pretty crazy. I guess this might be a good time to remind everybody that, of course, anything we discuss on this it's not a podcast, but on the community call is for entertainment and educational purposes only, and it's not considered financial advice. So definitely do not use anything we say as a way to decide what investments to make. Yeah. I noticed now we have like an official blurb. Are we supposed to read this, or what's the...
I thought you did a great job, Lee.
All right. Anyway, yeah, just keep in mind, everybody, of course, crypto and DeFi is considered pretty risky. It's high volatility, as we saw today. So never risk more than you can afford to lose. Never invest more than you can afford to lose. Make sure to do your own research before making any kind of investment or using any protocol or any DeFi app. Yep, those are sort of the basic rules. And I would also say it's not your keys, not your coins, but some people's keys aren't proving very safe these days. So yeah, make sure to keep it safe. All right. Another sort of weird news. I don't want to get. We've sort of covered news like quite a lot already, but I thought this is kind of a good thing, sort of as a PSA. Just while I was scrolling the Twitter account of the guy who reported the sort of weird wallet hack thing, or at least the first place I saw it, below that he was talking about smart contract token approval scams, and apparently there's like a whole new type of scam that's going on where people who have no idea about crypto are getting scammed into buying some tokens, and then they just approve the tokens for the contract, some kind of scammy contract. And then since the sort of default thing to do is to approve like basically an unlimited amount of tokens for the contract, whatever tokens they put in, they just immediately get stolen. And so definitely watch out for that. And also it's a lesson and a reminder that when you do approve tokens for use in a contract, like let's say before you do a trade on Uniswap, if it's whatever token, Uniswap will ask you to approve that token for the smart contract to perform an action on. And Perp also uses it in Hot Tub, uses it in the staking and in the DEX as well. Before you deposit or do any action, you have to approve that contract, approve the perpetual protocol smart contracts to use the token you're about to perform an action on. And it's really strongly recommended to set the approval amount in MetaMask or whatever wallet you're using to either the exact amount that you're about to use. So let's say you're about to deposit 1 ETH into Hot Tub, then approve, well, I guess ETH doesn't apply, but let's say it's WETH. If you're about to deposit 1 WETH into a Hot Tub, and it asks you to approve the tokens, don't let it approve like an infinite amount. Approve 1 ETH and not more than that. Or let's say you're planning to deposit 1 ETH now, and within a day or two you're going to deposit another ETH, then you could just set it to 2 ETH, something like sort of put a cap on that potential exposure that you have. I think in the old days of like people trading and doing stuff on Ethereum L1, we had the habit of approving an infinite amount because confirmation times are a bit slow compared to like Optimism, for example. Also, fees are pretty high, so it might cost you $5 for an approval or $15 at some points, at the peaks of gas prices. So I think a lot of people got into the habit of just approving a very large amount or the maximum amount or whatever the amount that the website they're using suggested. But that turns out to be a pretty bad practice. and I highly recommend you don't do it. And there's actually a tool you can use to check what contracts you've approved. And I would highly recommend you go and check out this tool. I'll just put a link in the chat. So you want to use this tool, and this would apply to mainnet, and I think you can probably find the same tool for other chains as well. And the reason why it's a good idea is, well, let's say you approved, USDC for Uniswap v2 way back when. You don't use Uniswap v2 anymore, so you might forget about it. In fact, you've almost definitely forgotten about it. And then, a year in the future, suddenly Uniswap v2 contract has some kind of issue that no one's thinking about anymore. And any USDC you have in the wallet that approved that contract could now be stolen by somebody exploiting the issue in that contract, years down the road without you even, you might have not been thinking about that for years at that point. So I highly recommend you go and check that out. Do keep an eye on what approvals you've made, and going forward, I highly recommend you only approve the amount that you need, especially when you're using like Optimism. Transactions are fast, they don't really cost that much, and you can save yourself a lot of pain in the future if you use a smaller, you basically sacrifice a bit of convenience today for long-term security going forward. So that's my personal recommendation.
Do these approvals, do they ever expire? So are they are they for life, or can you set it up so they expire after a period of time?
Yeah, as far as I know, they do not expire. I guess I think it's based on the ERC20 standard. So however that's coded would be how, if it doesn't have an expiry according to that, then they just basically that's that.
Yeah.
I don't know if, I don't know technically if it's possible to have an expiry, coded into that kind of contract. Sort of guessing it is possible. Like there are definitely expiry, you can set expiry for other types of transactions, but in general, it does not expire. So if you approve an infinite amount, 2 years ago on Uniswap v1, and suddenly someone a year from now discovers an exploit that they can take advantage of that, then yeah.
I have some homework to do after our call.
Yeah, we probably all do. I was looking at that link I just sent in the chat earlier today, and I sent a few cancellations of the contracts. Yeah.
So when you do cancel that, does that cost gas when you reset your limits?
Yes. Yeah. Basically, you're just resetting the limit back to 0, and that does take gas. So on Ethereum, that obviously costs a few dollars. Let's see what the gas prices today have been a little bit high, obviously, because of the volatility.
Yeah.
So generally what I do is set like a lower gas price, and then, eventually it will go through. But that's only practical if you're not using that wallet very often.
Yeah.
So if you need to use your wallet and the gas price is high, just set yourself an alarm for, Saturday morning, and then go Sunday morning or other, probably even better. And, your phone will remind you, and you can go and take care of it at the best time. So last but not least, I see we have a $1 million Bitcoin update. What's this about?
Yeah, that's Balaji's big bet. It's I got the unofficial countdown going on here on our community calls. 68 days remaining since Balaji made the June 2023 bet that Bitcoin will get to million. So I think we're still a little ways off. People are still talking about it, so it's fun to revisit. So yeah, as we get closer into that due date, curious if anyone on the call thinks we're still going to get there. I'm taking the under. I don't think we're going to get there by June.
That's no fun, Houston. Come on.
I'm already long, so it doesn't really that doesn't really make a difference. But
I guess it's a well-hedged bet then. I personally, I've always been. I've been a fan of Balaji now for like quite a while. I think I first heard of him talking on like the Tim Ferriss podcast a couple years ago, and he's definitely one of those like super. Just his like amount of good amount of ideas per minute in a podcast and an interview is just like, I don't think anyone can compete with him.
Yeah.
He had like an 8-hour podcast with
Was it Lex? Who was it?
Yeah,
Lex
yeah,
Friedman?
yeah,
I listened to that one. That was pretty crazy. Yeah.
That's sort of the ultimate biology. Like if you just want to have like one sit down with biology where you can get it all taken care of at one time, then that's sort of the one. I sort of treated it like an audiobook. I think I even downloaded it and had it on my phone like an audiobook app. So
yeah. I felt bad for Lex. I was like, man, I don't know how Lex is doing it. It's like I think they did like 3-hour stretches at a time or something like that. It was like 2 3-hour stretches or something like that, right? It's probably a lot of coffee. Yeah.
Well, you know, he brings it on himself, so
that's it.
I'm sure he enjoys it.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, we'll revisit the Bitcoin price again in a couple of weeks and see how this bet unfolds as we get closer to June.
Yep, pretty exciting. So yeah, thanks for that update, Houston. Glad to keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
All right. So just before we actually start the actual call here, there are a couple things we want to remind everybody. A lot of the team, Perpetual Protocol team, is in Japan this week, and some of you might be in Japan as well for the ETH Tokyo. I personally did make it, and Houston also did not make it. We're still holding down the fort here. But yeah, it sounds like a pretty fun time. But even more fun will be coming up in the next few days, starting actually, is ETH Taipei. I will be there for ETH Taipei since I'm in Taiwan right now. And hopefully we will see some people, some familiar people there. If you are coming, definitely let us know. You can just send me a message on Discord or something, let us know. So there's going to be a hackathon on between April 21st and the 23rd. So that's coming up starting on Friday. Might be like sort of Thursday for some people if you're not in Taiwan. But yeah, April 21st to the 23rd, there'll be an ETH Taipei hackathon, followed by the conference itself from the 24th to the 25th. So this is a pretty cool event. I don't know if there's been like a really major ETH type of event in Taipei for a while. I know like Taiwan has always sort of been a little bit on the map for Ethereum people, like especially Vitalik is sort of known Taiwan fan. So if you're wondering what all the fuss is about, then definitely get over here. It's not too late. You can book a ticket at the last minute and fly on over. I think I have a link to sign up. I'm just gonna like double check. All right. Yeah, the only link I have is for discounted ticket. But anyway, definitely check that out. If you want more information about it, or if you're in Taiwan, if you happen to be in Taiwan and you want to join, just let us know on Discord, and we will be happy to give you the details. And Perpetual Protocol is sort of involved pretty heavily in the organization of it. So yeah, it's a really exciting event. Looking forward to that. Also, as just a reminder, definitely, if you have not already, make sure to sign up for Hot Tub. The good news with Hot Tub is we will be actually raising the limit on the vault for the Ethereum vault very soon. Could be tomorrow or in the next couple of days, so definitely keep an eye out for that. Put the link for the sign up for Hot Tub in the chat here. Okay. Our friend Baron Wizard reminds us that Vitalik will be joining via Zoom. Yeah, that's kind of lame if that's true. Actually, I have no idea about the details. I know he is making an appearance of some kind. I don't know if it will be physical or metaphysical, but we will see. All right, so I put the link for Hot Tub signups in the chat. Definitely check that out. And like I say, the cap will be raised. We've had a pretty good performance on the ETH vault so far. The USDC vault is lagging a little bit, although with the crazy volume we've had in the last several hours, that USDC vault should get a chance to perform some more trades. basically up to this point, its opportunity to like enter and exit have been limited just based on the lack of volatility, which is a little bit unusual in crypto. So that was a bit unexpected, but volatility seems to be back. So I'm expecting that we'll also be able to make some trades and bring in some revenue as well. But the main event will be the ETH vault, which will be raising the cap, doubling the cap up to 120 ETH. So keep an eye out for that. I'm expecting actually it should be probably within about 12 hours to be increased. So definitely keep an eye out for that. All right. We also have, there's like a ton of news outside of the actual community call today. But a very important thing that's going on right now is a vote in our governance for a new strategy for the community support program that we've been running up until like for the last year and almost a year and a half. We've had the Perp Evangelist program running, and the Perp Evangelists will continue as a group. We've made like so many great friends and had lots of good times along the way. So we want to be able to keep that going as best we can. But at the same time, we've found that it's like a little bit difficult to manage. And just as the program grew, we discovered that it wasn't like really serving the needs of the community as much as we really wanted. So we have a new alternate proposal, which is live now, and I'll post the link in the chat. Definitely go and check that out. If you're a Perp holder or if you're staking Perp on the V Perp locker, definitely check out the vote. Check out the proposal. There's like a link to the discussion. If you have questions or comments about it, you can leave those on the governance forum, and make sure you cast your vote. And yeah, highly recommended to check that out. Vote is ongoing right now, and you should definitely go read the details and cast your vote. And like I say, it's specifically related to community support. Community support is like pretty much essential for any DeFi project. So this is a really critical vote and something that I think, yeah, I mean, support is like essential for users, especially on a slightly more complex derivatives platform like Perpetual Protocol. So please do check that out. All right, and finally, my last thing, I'm gonna shut up about all this news after this, is we've had this awesome Q&A bot running in our Discord for a little while now, and they recently connected this thing to ChatGPT with GPT-4, apparently. So now it is answering questions in our Discord. If you see it answering like in a really bad way, give it a downvote. But if you do see some good answers from it, give it an upvote. There's like a up and down thumb emoji. You can react to it and let it know how it's doing. So keep an eye out for that. All right. Finally, the moment has arrived to begin the community call proper. Luckily, we don't have a huge number of things to talk about on this side of things, but I'll get right into it. So in terms of product updates, hold on. After all this talking, I have to scroll on the... All right. So for product updates, the first one is the Curie version 2.6 has been deployed. Basically, this is to introduce a new mark price. So if you've watched our Discord announcements for the last little while, you'll probably already have seen this news. Basically, it just adjusts the way that certain things are calculated, especially regarding P&L and for performing liquidations and things like that, to make it a little bit more fair in terms of what prices are used for that, and also a little bit more fair for liquidators as well. It gets a little bit technical as to like what the change really means. For normal users like myself, really you won't notice anything changing at all in terms of how the DEX works, or like what kind of prices you see or things like that. So it's not like a major change for a normal user, but in terms of the stability and performance of the protocol itself, this is a pretty big thing, and the team has been working on this for a while. And it's part of a broader strategy where we are hoping to sort of reduce the dependence on like TWAP prices. A lot of things depend on the TWAP price, which causes a lag, and sort of leaves little gaps where, potentially in like really extreme market conditions, stability of the protocol might be affected a little bit. So this is sort of part of the effort to improve that, and it's ongoing. So yeah, keep an eye out for further updates in the future. But yeah, it's a pretty major update. One of the major updates for this year is the mark price update. All right, so moving on from that, we also had some optimizations and updates made to Hot Tub. So we already released 2 Hot Tub vaults, and we plan to release a bunch more as the months go by. And so for this Hot Tub update, we asked a few community members who are like really good at reading smart contract code to take a look and see if they could find ways to attack the vault. And indeed, one of our community members did find a couple of sort of edge cases where, like, given a certain strategy, like an attacker could slowly drain funds from the vault. So a couple of small updates were made in that regard. And we do expect as well at some point to release more details about the actual exploit that was discovered. But the good news is it was fairly simple matter to fix. And yeah, we're looking forward to some upcoming new vaults, and which in fact is the next thing to talk about. Although we don't have a whole lot of details, but if some of you have been watching the governance forum, you might have like some hints about what might be coming. Although, yeah, it's pretty interesting. We have some interesting strategies and things that we want to test out. So yeah, that will be coming out in the form of new Hot Tub vaults that are in the research phase right now, and we'll have some more details coming. And finally, it will be released at some point, although that is to be confirmed in terms of the date. All right, so moving on to community and partnerships. Yes, like I was saying earlier, ETH Taipei is coming up, and anybody who is able to come, or if you're in Taiwan already, definitely come. And it'd be really great to meet you. It's always fun to meet some DeFi people in real life. We mentioned this discount code here. I'm very sorry to say, though, it's actually sold out already. So if you missed the code, then I guess you can try getting in touch with us. Maybe there's something we can do. But this code itself is actually sold out already. So yeah. All right. Ooh. All right, so I have been mentioning this support educators proposal. Houston, can you take over for a second? I've got to have some more water, actually.
Sure, not a problem. So Lee mentioned this earlier, but essentially, as all proposals, they first begin with a temperature check. So last week we had a small temperature check to make sure that that everyone was on point and understood the proposal. So that temperature check duration has passed, and now we move straight to the vote. So as Lee mentioned before, now if you have an opinion and want to support the community, you can do so by voting with your Perp tokens. Of course, you need to actually have a wallet that has Perp in it to vote on Snapshot. But yeah, we need to make a quorum. So I believe the number is what, 10 million? Is it, Lee, or 14? I kind of hear two numbers here, so I'm not sure which one it is.
Yeah, it's actually 14 million. Okay. We're having a small issue with Snapshot, which is preventing us from updating the quorum on Snapshot. Okay. But if you look on the governance forum, the official number is there. Yeah, it's about 14 million.
Yeah. So we need your help to pass this proposal, assuming of course that you support it. If you do support it, yeah, please vote, as we think this proposal will definitely help the community around user support and of course user success, which ultimately drives the success of Perp. So yeah, I know I'm voting very soon, but I think how many days left? I think it's like 6 more days, Lee. It's a 7-day voting period. I think we have 6 days. I think it dropped yesterday, right?
Yeah, it's a 7-day voting period, and despite what Houston said, if you support it, go and vote. If you don't support it,
you can still vote. Yes, exactly. We still need to vote. just vote.
Yeah.
Yes or no.
If you want to abstain, that's also a vote you can cast. So
you just need a quorum. Yeah. So yeah, Just express an opinion. Yes, no, or abstain.
Yeah. Oh, if you have no opinion, we also want to know. So
Yeah, 100%.
all
Agreed.
no opinions, please come and cast your vote.
That's it. This would actually be a really good thing to have in general elections when for politicians. We should have that. Yes, no, or no. I'm not voting for any of these
I
candidates.
Although in a lot of elections, the abstain is I mean, most people are abstaining.
Yeah,
You would
yeah,
seem.
yeah. But then you don't know if it's just because of apathy or like they really don't like the candidates, so you're abstaining.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah.
I guess you could be a totally enthusiastic abstainer.
Yes, that's how I am most of the time for for general elections around politics. I just generally don't like any of the candidates.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so let's keep moving on here. Yeah, what else is happening? I guess there's a couple of other small items that we can wrap up quickly. We had a recent Twitter space talking about perpetual dexes hosted by the Rollup company. So yeah, you can check out on that's linked on our Twitter. Also, our co-founder Yanwen Feng, I know it's Feng, which made people think maybe it's Feng, but it's actually pronounced Feng. Anyway, in Taiwan at least. He was invited as a speaker at a DeFi innovation conference a little bit earlier in the month in Tokyo, and shared his insights there. I'm not sure if there's a recording of that. I see there's no link here. Maybe there is. Anyway, but if you want to get a recording of that, then let us know. If there is one, we'll definitely give it the link. And last but not least, yeah, the total amount of fees distributed to VE Perp holders has now exceeded 430,000, which is pretty amazing. And we're also coming up on the 18 billion all-time trading volume, which is also pretty amazing. Although personally, this is like even more exciting. That's coming up to $500,000 of shared revenue. And that's really, for me, the sort of dream of DeFi is like a collectively owned protocol, which we all own together. We all like work to make it better as much as we can. And as a reward, we can share in the revenue directly from the protocol itself as a distributed and decentralized way. And that, there's a huge amount of scope, obviously, in the decentralization process. And we're taking steps further and further towards that as we can. But yeah, super, super exciting, and really looking forward to seeing that 500,000 number. That's going to be pretty big. All right, so we have also some further readings. Definitely check these out if you're looking for more information about, you want to understand, like Houston was talking about earlier, the Chapella upgrade for Ethereum. We've got our Grants DAO quarterly update, as well as how to hedge against impermanent loss with volatility futures, which is pretty interesting, although it's on Deribit, which is a centralized exchange. So, proceed with caution, but there's a pretty well-known exchange. So obviously follow the rules, like don't invest more than you can afford to lose. Anyway, check out these three further readings if you're looking for more information about those topics.
Yeah, I read that last article, the how to hedge against IL with the volatility features. That's actually a very good article that, of course, our master content creator, Jamie, created. And it's very interesting because, if you are providing liquidity on Perp or elsewhere, as you know, the volatility is often the enemy of providing LP. So Deribit recently released a new product called DVOL, DVOL, which you can find on TradingView. And basically, it's like VIX, like the VIX futures contract, but for Bitcoin. So unfortunately, right now it's just for Bitcoin. Doesn't track any other tokens or assets. It tracks just Bitcoin. So if you are providing liquidity for Bitcoin, then maybe this is a product you could use to try to hedge that that volatility. It hasn't worked very well though. I was just looking at it this morning, how devol moved. It's interesting if you look at devol and Bitcoin's down what 5% today, 4% today, close to 4%. Devol hasn't moved much at all. So unfortunately, you kind of need to understand what that devol product is doing. You can't just buy it and hope that it works. You definitely need to look at the maths and kind of figure it out because it's based upon implied volatility of those option contracts like we mentioned that run on Deribit. So you need to know a bit about option strategy and how the IV is calculated to understand why IV would move, and then how that could protect your LP position. But a good article nonetheless to try to understand how these things all play together. So you can see definitely the complexity and of things are definitely ramping up as different parts of the ecosystem are beginning to touch one another. Options, futures, all these things. Markets all touch. Yeah.
That is really cool. And that's a great point to note that it's not just simply a buy and forget type of thing. You have to understand what it is. I also assume there's probably some kind of like premium you might end up paying. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna have to buy that contract obviously on devol. So there could be slippage. It's probably going to be some sort of fees associated with that. So that will all factor into how profitable it would be to actually try to hedge. Yeah. So, but for those gigabrains out there, interesting product to try to to try to see if it fits into your hedging strategy versus just outright buying puts or calls, which are even more expensive than maybe using something like a volatility futures product to try to hedge.
All right, excellent. Okay, well that pretty much wraps up the community call portion. So we can take a few questions, and I'll get Houston to up the infamous OAT link.
Oh, it is time. It's time for the NFT drop, the OAT drop. All right, let's do it. So in a few moments we'll drop the link to the to our community call number 49 NFT, which is of course a unique NFT crafted just for this event. So as always, it's hosted on Galaxy. So that link will point to a Google form. The form is optional, but you'll find the link to the actual NFT on that form. So just click on that. I'll just paste that link now. I don't know if is Teresa around? Is she in our chat today? I don't know if she wants to post the link. If she is, otherwise Lee, you can drop it in there while I explain it.
I can.
Okay, thank you. Yep. So please fill out that feedback form. It is optional, but we love to hear back from you to hear how we can continue to improve these calls. What's interesting to you and what maybe we should talk about, or if you think we can change the calls in any ways. We'd love to hear your feedback. And then click on the link to claim the NFT. The NFT this month is now on the Avalanche network. So prior to that, they were hosted on Polygon, but now they're on Avalanche. So free to claim. So no gas required to claim that. And then once again, as always, if you care about privacy, spin up a new wallet address. You can always use a different wallet to claim that claim that NFT. Other than that, enjoy the collectible. Number 50, community call 50 is right around the corner. So
yeah, maybe we should do something. We don't have any plan right now, but maybe we should do something. 50 is kind of a milestone. I'm surprised that it's on Avalanche though. Like, do you know how is it just a rotating door? Or revolving door? How do they figure that out? Like, why is it on Avalanche now?
Yeah, I think that's Galaxy just recently partnered with Avalanche, so I think it's part of their rollout period where maybe Avalanche is probably subsidizing the gas fees for Galaxy. Yeah, because prior to that, it was all Polygon, and it was basically to mint on Polygon. Even though it's very cheap to mint on Polygon, it's only a few cents usually to mint a NFT on Polygon. But now, there's no more free option on Polygon anymore. So EVAX is now the free option. So we want to make it easy for our community to claim the NFT. So go enjoy the gasless minting for now.
Nice. I'm informed that Teresa is here. Awesome. Hi, Teresa.
Hey, Teresa.
Although Teresa's in Japan right now. So, a lot of the team is in Japan.
I think she said she made it back this morning or yesterday or something like that, back to Taiwan. Yeah.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
I actually don't know. That's what happens when you do remote work. You've got no idea where your coworkers are at the time. All right, so I'll take a look at the chat here, see if there's any questions that we've accumulated, although I don't think we have.
Yeah. Well, at least, digging for questions. I thought one thing that was interesting that I'll point out is I think Lee kind of mentioned it earlier, are the rewards for a hot tub. And I've had some questions as I've talked to some people about the rewards in hot tub, and you'll see that USDC, up until recently, right, had been kind of flat. Like it was basically not generating any yield, because as Lee mentioned, there wasn't, the markets were kind of just grinding upwards, but it wasn't that volatile. So it wasn't really giving that bot much chance to do any arbitrage on that USDC pair, ETH USDC pair. So it's kind of just inactive, and that's kind of why it was getting kind of those basically 0% returns, and maybe even some negative returns because it had to pay some funding costs. But as you see now, if you actually take a look at that hot tub page, it's now up to 8%, which is a decent number, but not a crazy number. But if you look at I don't know if people know it or not, but it's kind of a small Easter egg. Most folks have found it by now, but if you click on the APR number, it now, shows you the all-time, the 7-day versus the all-time APR. And that 7-day for the USDC vault is now 22%, 22.7. So just in the last day, right, where we had that, I think it's the last, probably today, it's really bumped up that number. So when you have these volatile events, this is what the vaults are really good at, right? So when you see this volatility in markets and you have these kind of displacements, especially these big drops, this is what the vaults are really great at. So just think about how you use the vault, right? So this is like, when markets are going sideways, probably not a great time to leave the vault or to put money in the vault, unless you think that, right, at some point the markets will not be sideways anymore, which usually it does. It does move after some point, right? So so just be patient sometimes. Either try to time it and try to figure out when it's going to get wild, or just be patient, and the markets will eventually move in crypto. They don't just trend sideways forever, and then that's when the vaults will probably kick in, and you'll see some returns.
Yeah, when things are going sideways, that just something building up.
Yeah, something's happening. It's coiling. Something's gonna pop. Just don't know which direction sometimes.
One beauty of these arbitrage vaults is whatever is building up, doesn't matter if it's like a break upwards or a total dump downwards, then there's money to be made, up or down. So
it's useful, right? Because I think most of us in crypto kind of have a long bias. We want to see it go up, but oftentimes it doesn't go up. So it's nice to have this kind of counter strategy where it's delta neutral, and you kind of don't have to worry about that directional stuff as much. You can keep your natural inclination to be long biased, but at least the vault will try to be delta neutral for you if you want to put your money in there.
Yeah, well, thanks a lot for that update. I hadn't taken a look at it today at this point, so it's great to hear the update for that and see that starting to make some moves.
Yeah, ETH is at 7-day now, 37% on the APR. So it's definitely matching the strategy parameters.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's pretty exciting, especially since we are pretty close to increasing the capacity on the ETH vault. I guess if USDC vault does pretty well as well, then they'll have to increase the capacity there. We will see how long this volatility lasts, although I think the rule in crypto in general is that volatility tends to be more the rule than just stability. So it'd be good.
Definitely matches that devol contract we talked about earlier, right? So if you kind of want to see what volatility looks like, take a look at that devol contract, and you can, if you're a chart reader, you can read the candlesticks if you know how to read that stuff and draw crayons, then take a look at that chart, because it does help you kind of track volatility, which kind of maps to price movements.
All right, very interesting. All right, well, so far I don't see any questions popping up. So I think we'll call it a night or call it a morning, depending on where you are. We covered a lot of interesting topics today, so thanks everyone for joining us. Really, really great chatting with you all again. I'm happy to be back after my hiatus, and looking forward to seeing you again in 2 weeks. For all the latest updates on Perpetual Protocol. And in the meantime, if you have any questions or comments for us, definitely hit us up on Discord. Hopefully the ChatGPT-4 bot won't be the one replying to you first, but if it does, I hope the answer is good. And we'll see you around.
Sounds good. Take care, everyone. Talk to you next time.
Take care, and great to see you again, Houston.
Likewise. See you later.